Hello, my name is Susan, and I'm here for another episode of Crafting at Home from Aram Public Library. Today we are going to be making a Father's Day treat. The sample I have to show you is for a grandfather, and these obviously were part of a Starbucks box. So we're going to decorate the box, and we're going to do a light decoration on the bottles. Now, if the person you're going to gift this to doesn't care for coffee, that's okay, because we're going to fill it with the treats that are appropriate for the person who is going to get the gift. The other thing I need you to know, these two jars are standing up. I did that so you could see them. I actually have little Tupperware cups underneath so that they are high enough for you to see. Normally they would be sitting at the same height as the ones on the front. So we're going to begin by going over the supplies and tools. We're going to be using scissors today and a ruler, double-sided tape, regular tape. I have narrow gauge or narrow width washi tape. I'll explain more about that later. Some colorful stickers, some Father's Day stickers. I have 2 pieces of cardstock that are 1 inch by 4 inch, and these match the large piece of cardstock. This is a 24 inch by 4 inch piece of cardstock. And actually, it's 2 12-inch pieces that I have simply taped together. And I scored a 1/2 inch line from the one edge of the paper, the entire length, because that will make it easier for me to attach it to my Starbucks box. The other thing I have is I have just a decorative band I'm going to put on the front of the box just to add a little bit of color. I do have another Starbucks box that we're going to be using. And I think the other thing I need to tell you is what I had to do to get the bottles ready. Now, my husband is not a coffee drinker, so I took the coffee out, and actually that got turned in some lovely ice cubes, and I filled it with the treats that he does like. Now, in order to get the labels off of a Starbucks bottle, because when you look at it, they're clear, they're lovely, they're tight, and you think, oh, that must be stamped on the jar. They're not. They get peeled off, and then what you have is this lovely jar, but there's a lot of goo and plastic and adhesive on it. Now, to get the adhesive off the jar, I used Goo B Gone with some paper towels. I did wear gloves. It didn't say to wear gloves, but I didn't necessarily want the adhesive to transfer from the jar to my hands. So that's how I cleaned the jars. So we're just going to put this back here. We're going to push it out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and get started, and I want to show you how to cover this box. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do, because the box is not a straight line all the way around, there are these little points here. And originally my intention was just to ignore them because they're white, doesn't really make any difference. But it was very easy to take a 1 by 4 inch piece of coordinating cardstock. All I'm going to do is put it right here. I want it at the height of the edge of the box, the straight edge of the box. I'm going to hold it there, and all I'm going to do is bend it over. I don't have to do any measuring. I don't have to do anything fancy. Let me get these things out of the way. And it's just inside the box. And then I'm just going to take a piece of regular tape and I'm going to tape it down. So that white point is now covered. Now I'm going to just slip over to the other side. Make sure my paper is going the right way. I am going to bend this over. Nothing fancy here. I'm just going to bend it over and put a hard crease on there. And then I am going to use regular tape. And I'm just going to tape down those edges on the inside of the box. Doesn't have to be anything fancy because the bottles will actually hold that paper in. So the points on either side are covered. And what I need to do now is I need to take this large strip of paper and I'm going to put it around the box. Now, the edge which has the score line on it, that's this lovely folded edge, that's going to be up at the top because when I get that far, it's going to fold into the box. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I am just going to put a crease at the corner, a slight crease, a crease at this corner. But now what I want to do is I want to take the paper off and I'm going to put a hard crease on it. I'm going to line up my edges. I'm going to put a hard crease so I know where those corners are. Now, where I joined the cardstock on the front, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's quite a line of tape there, but that's where my decorations are going to go. And it is a clear tape, so really you aren't going to see it. So at this point, I have those two corners. So now I'm just going to turn it around a little. I'm going to put a crease here to get that corner. And a crease here to get this corner. And then I'm going to take them off and I'm going to give myself a hard crease. I'm going to line up the edge of the paper. You could measure it if you wanted to, but this worked fine, so. Alright, so I have a hard crease for all four edges of the box. Now I can tell you that there's a lot of extra paper on the back side, but when we get that far we'll do a little bit of trimming. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this paper. I'm pretty sure my creases are stable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and just move it over a little bit. I'm going to take this and now I'm going to switch to double-sided tape. And I am going to put double-sided tape. Right now I'm just going to do the front panel. I'm going to put double-sided tape just below that score line. And I'm going to put double-sided tape at the bottom, which would be at the bottom edge of the Starbucks box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the front of the box, and really it doesn't make any difference unless there's some damage on the handle. Now I didn't decorate the handle other than using stickers, but as long as there's no damage, it really doesn't make any difference which one you do. So I'm going to take this, I am going to pull the paper up, I'm going to attach that tape. But then what I want to do to make sure that that tape is connecting as much as I can, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to press on those edges where that tape is connecting. So I have the front panel connecting. Now, that ½ score line is still there. We haven't done anything with it yet. We're just going to leave it there. So now I'm going to put tape for the left and the right side. I'm going to do the same thing. Tape at the bottom. Tape along the top below that score line. I'm going to bring my box back upright and I am going to pull that paper around on both sides. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to use my ruler to make sure that that tape is making good contact surface with the box. And I'm going to do this side. All right. So now I'm going to do one of the panels up back. Which one you do really doesn't make a difference. It's going to cover most of the back of the box. Same thing, 2 pieces of double-sided tape. And this time I'm going to do it this way. Now, I don't need all of this paper because the back of the box is covered. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim this a little. Probably take off about 2.5 inches. And then I am going to put double-sided tape on here. But the one thing I'm going to do different, because this is the last one, I do have double-sided tape on the top and the bottom. I'm going to add a piece along here so that it does lay flat. I'm going to put that on the box. And then one more time I'm going to go in with the ruler and go back over those seams. So my box is covered. Everything is down. All I need to take care of now is this edge. And this is how we're going to cover the edge of the original Starbucks box. So I'm going to go in with my scissors and I'm going to just clip at the corners just that 1/2 inch that we created with a score line. But I also need to go in and I need to do a clip right here at that seam that separates the 2 jars from each other. So again, this is just a little 1/2 inch clip and a 1/2 inch clip here. Now, the reason I did that score line is because I'm now going to start folding this paper into the box. It covers the edge of the Starbucks box. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press it in and do a crease with my finger. You will have to put a little trim, a little cut by those angles there. So I put just a little trim there. I'm going to fold that in. I'm going to fold this in. Because we did the scoring, it makes it so much easier to do that fold. Do a trim, a little cut here, a cut here. So now you have a finished edge to the box. But what I do need to do is I need to go around with just a little bit of tape to hold those edges down. And I am using just plain old regular tape. You're just putting on enough so that the jars don't catch, the bottles don't catch it when they come in and out of the container. And again, this is just regular tape. And there we go. The box is covered. The handles, which are blue and brown, go nicely with the paper that we have anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, I was going to put a decorative band on here. You certainly don't have to. This is just a piece of paper cut from a 12 by 12 inch piece of scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to put it on the front of the box. Now, in order to do that, all I am going to do is I'm going to take out some double-sided tape. You could use solid colored paper. You could use ribbon. You could elect to do nothing and just let your stickers do the work for you. Now if you are going to do this, I do recommend that you use a fair amount of tape so that it lays flat, double-sided tape. Sticking to me. Double-sided tape is available just about anywhere you get supplies. You can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Dollar Tree, and it just comes in really handy for projects like this. So I'm going to go ahead, and I do have this side of the box that has that layer of tape on it. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and put my decoration so that I get that tape covered up. This time I'm going to put the decoration at the bottom of the box. And again, it's double-sided tape, so we're just going to go in there with a ruler, or any kind of a straight edge would work. Just going to make sure that I have it down. Alright, so now it's time to add our Father's Day stickers. So I'm going to open my sticker package up here. There we go. So I am going to take this large one and I'm going to put this up at the top of the Starbucks box so that it projects up a little, because once you put the jars in there, if you put it all the way down or if you put it down here, you wouldn't be able to see it. Now these stickers do come with foam squares already attached to it so that they will be 3D. I'm going to attach that right there, and I'm on the front side, and then I'm going to add something here. And now all I would have to do is I would just have to put the jars in there. Now, I do want to show you how I decorated these jars. This is just a round sticker. I just had them in my supply cabinet just to cover up the Starbucks sign. Now I'm going to take this off. This is just a piece of washi tape. I'm going to just take this off with my fingernail just to show you how I did this. Washi tape is just a paper tape. It's very, very thin, almost translucent, and you can rip it with your finger. You don't even need a pair of scissors. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to go around the jar. Now if you don't happen to have washi tape, you could just use a colored band of paper or cardstock. You could do ribbon. And once I get to the point where I'm all the way around the jar, all I have to do is use my nail and I can rip it and we're done, because that's how easy it is to use washi tape. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my Father's Day stickers and I'm just going to put it right on top of that seal where I just ripped the tape. And you have Father's Day treats, and you can fill them with the treats that work well for your family. And that's how I created the Father's Day little treat box here. You could add balloons, you could add gift cards, you can add whatever works for you. But I hope that you have a lovely weekend and a lovely Father's Day. Before we end our session today, I would like to introduce you to something new at the Aram Public Library website that has to do with crafting. If you look at the Aram Public Library website, on the very front page of the website, down towards the bottom, you will see a little button that says Creative Bug. Now that button is not as elaborate as the sign I'm showing you here, but if you click on that, it will take you to a screen that looks like this. Thanks to the Lake Shores Public Library System, Aram Public Library now has available for all of its patrons free access to the Creative Bug website. This is a website that offers hundreds of classes on art and scrapbooking and crafts. All of these classes are totally free to our patrons. Now this is the screen that you would see, and all it requires for you to get into this website to look at these crafts and scrapbooking classes is your library card number and your PIN. And again, we are very grateful to the Lake Shore system for providing this resource to us. So again, I hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day, and I hope that you have an opportunity to go on our website and look at the Creative Bug website and everything that it has to offer to you as a scrapbooker or an artist. Enjoy.